The sky burned orange and red as smoke rose from the broken buildings. The planet Verath 7 had been beautiful once. Now it was nothing but dust and fire. The war between the Galactic Coalition and the Veth Empire had destroyed everything here. Mountains had fallen, rivers had turned black, the trees were all dead. Suho stood near a collapsed wall and looked at the destruction around him. He was a human soldier, 26 years old, with tired eyes and dirty armor. He had been fighting in this war for 3 years, 3 years of watching friends die, 3 years of killing enemies he did not hate, 3 years of wondering why any of this was happening. The ceasefire had started 6 hours ago. Both sides had agreed to stop fighting, while their leaders talked about peace. But nobody believed the peace would last. It never did. The Veth and the Coalition had been enemies for too long. Suho walked through the ruins with his squad. There were 8 of them. His squad leader was a woman named Yuna. She was tough and smart, and she had kept them alive through many battles. The others were a mix of humans and aliens. 2 Kelvari with their blue skin and 4 arms, 1 Drothian with scales like a lizard, and 3 more humans like Suho. They were supposed to search this area for any remaining threats. The commanders wanted to make sure no enemies were hiding nearby during the peace talks. The ground shook suddenly. Suho stopped walking and looked around. A building to his left made a terrible sound. Metal screamed against metal. Stone cracked and fell, then the whole structure collapsed into a pile of rubble. Dust filled the air. Suho covered his face and waited for it to clear. When he could see again, he noticed something moving in the debris. It was a Veth warrior. The alien was trapped under a massive beam of metal. His lower body was completely buried under broken stone. He was trying to push the beam off his chest, but it was too heavy. His 4 arms pushed and pulled, but nothing moved. Suho had seen many Veth before. They were tall creatures, almost 8 feet when standing. They had 4 arms and gray skin that was hard like leather. Their faces had no nose, just 2 slits for breathing. Their eyes were completely black, like deep holes in their skulls. The Coalition called them monsters. They said the Veth were cruel and savage. They said the Veth enjoyed killing and felt no mercy. Suho had believed this once. He was not sure anymore. The trapped warrior saw Suho watching him. Their eyes met across the distance. The Veth stopped struggling for a moment. He seemed to be waiting for something. Maybe waiting for Suho to shoot him, but Suho did not raise his weapon. He just stood there, looking at the injured alien. Yuna walked up beside him. She looked at the Veth and then looked away. Her face showed no emotion. "Leave him," she said. "He is the enemy." "He is injured," Suho replied. "So what? He would kill you without thinking twice. They are animals, Suho. You know this." Suho did not answer. He watched the Veth try to free himself again. The alien's movements were getting weaker. He was losing blood from somewhere under the rubble. Other soldiers walked past the scene. A Kelvari soldier named Roth stopped for a moment. He looked at the trapped Veth and laughed. "Look at this," Roth said to his companion. "A mighty Veth warrior. Stuck like an insect. How sad." "Should we help him?" the other Kelvari asked. He seemed younger and less certain. Roth laughed louder. "Help a Veth? Are you stupid? Do you know how many of our people they have killed? Let him suffer. Let him die slowly. It is what he deserves." They walked away, still laughing. More soldiers came and went. Nobody stopped. Nobody cared. A Drothian spit on the ground near the trapped warrior. A human soldier threw a rock at him. It hit the Veth's shoulder, and he made a sound of pain. Suho felt something twist in his stomach. He did not like this. It felt wrong. "Come on," Yuna said. "We have work to do." "Stop looking at him." Suho followed his squad. But he kept looking back. The Veth had stopped moving now. He was just lying there, staring at the orange sky. His black eyes reflected the smoke and fire. They searched 3 more buildings. They found nothing dangerous. The area was clear. But Suho could not stop thinking about the trapped warrior. He remembered his training on Earth before he joined the military. His instructor had been an old man named Captain Park. The captain had taught them about honor and duty. He had said that a true soldier fights with purpose, not with hate. He had said that mercy is not weakness. Mercy is strength. The enemy is still a living being, Captain Park had told them. When the fight is over, the hate should end too. A soldier who cannot show mercy is no better than a murderer. Suho had carried these words with him through the war. But it was hard to remember them when friends died. It was hard to feel mercy when the Veth killed people he loved. Still, looking at that trapped warrior, Suho could not see a monster. He saw a creature in pain. He saw someone who was going to die alone, surrounded by enemies who laughed at his suffering. The squad returned to their base camp as the sun began to set. The sky changed from orange to purple. The temperature dropped quickly. Nights on Vareth 7 were cold. Very cold. Suho sat near a small fire and tried to eat his food. But he had no appetite. He kept seeing those black eyes staring at the sky. He kept hearing the sound of that rock hitting the alien's shoulder. "You are thinking about the Veth," Yuna said. She sat down across from him. "Yes," Suho admitted. "Forget about him. He will be dead by morning. The cold will kill him if his injuries do not. That does not make it right." Yuna sighed. "Suho, I understand. You are a good person. That is why you are struggling with this. But the Veth are not like us. They do not feel the way we feel. They do not value life the way we do. Saving him would be a waste. How do you know what they feel?" Yuna had no answer for that. She looked at the fire for a long moment. "Just forget about it," she finally said. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow might bring more fighting." She stood up and walked away. Suho stayed by the fire. He watched the flames dance and thought about what she had said. Maybe she was right. Maybe the Veth were different. Maybe they really did not feel pain or fear the way humans did. But then why did that warrior look so afraid? Why did he look so alone? Suho lay down on his sleeping mat. But sleep did not come. He stared at the stars and listened to the wind. Somewhere out there, a creature was dying. A creature that everyone had decided did not deserve to live. The night grew colder. Suho pulled his blanket tighter around himself. He closed his eyes and tried to sleep. But every time he started to drift off, he saw those black eyes again. He heard that sound of pain again. He made his decision before dawn. Suho opened his eyes before the sun rose. The camp was quiet. Most soldiers were still sleeping. Only a few guards stood at the edges, watching for danger that probably would not come. The ceasefire was holding for now. He lay still for a long moment, staring at the dark sky. The stars were fading as morning approached. His body was tired, but his mind would not rest. The decision he had made during the night sat heavy in his chest. He was going to help the Veth. It was crazy. It was dangerous. It might get him killed or thrown in prison, but he could not ignore the feeling inside him anymore. That warrior was going to die alone in the cold, and everyone was just letting it happen. Everyone had walked away. Everyone had laughed or spit or thrown stones, but Suho was not everyone. He got up slowly and quietly. He grabbed his medical kit and some water. He put on his armor and checked his weapon. He hoped he would not need to use it. The camp was still dark as he walked toward the edge. A guard named Dohun noticed him and raised his hand. "Where are you going?" Dohun asked. "Patrol," Suho lied. "Could not sleep. Figured I would check the eastern sector," Dohun shrugged. "Be careful. Radio if you see anything strange." Dohun shrugged. "2. I will." Suho walked into the ruins. The morning air was freezing. His breath came out in white clouds. The ground was covered in frost. Everything was silent, except for his footsteps crunching on broken stone. He found his way back to the collapsed building easily. The path was familiar now. He had walked it yesterday, and it was burned into his memory. The Veth was still there. Suho approached slowly. He was not sure if the alien was still alive. The warrior had not moved since yesterday. His gray body was covered in frost. His forearms lay limp on the rubble around him. Then the Veth's eyes opened. Those black eyes found Suho immediately. They watched him with something that looked like confusion. Or maybe it was fear. Suho could not tell. "I am not here to hurt you," Suho said. He kept his voice calm and quiet. "I want to help." The Veth said nothing. He probably did not understand human language. Most Veth warriors did not. They had translators, but this one's device was probably broken or lost. Suho knelt down near the trapped alien. He put his weapon on the ground to show he meant no harm. The Veth watched every movement with those deep black eyes. "Help," Suho said slowly, pointing at the Veth and then at himself. "I will help you." The alien's eyes narrowed. He seemed to understand the gesture, even if he did not understand the words. But he also seemed suspicious. Why would an enemy offer help? It made no sense. Suho examined the situation. The metal beam across the Veth's chest was massive. It would take several people to move it. But maybe he could create some space. Maybe he could lift one end just enough for the alien to slide out. He found a long piece of metal nearby. It was bent but strong. He could use it as a lever. He pushed one end under the beam and found a rock to use as a support point. "When I lift," Suho said, making pushing motions with his hands, "you move. Understand? You move that way." He pointed away from the rubble. The Veth watched him carefully. Then, slowly, he nodded. Suho took a deep breath. He grabbed the lever and pushed down with all his strength. His muscles screamed. His feet slipped on the frost. But the beam moved. Just a little. Just enough. The Veth reacted instantly. His forearms grabbed at the ground and pulled. He dragged himself sideways, away from the crushing weight. Suho held the lever as long as he could. His arms were shaking. His back felt like it was breaking. The Veth got his upper body free, then his waist, but his legs were still trapped under the stones. Suho could not hold anymore. The lever slipped from his hands. The beam crashed back down, but the Veth had moved enough to avoid it. Now Suho started digging. He threw stones aside with his bare hands. The frost made his fingers numb, but he did not stop. The Veth tried to help, using his own arms to push debris away. They worked together for almost an hour. The sun rose higher. The air grew slightly warmer. Suho was sweating despite the cold. His hands were bleeding from the rough stones. Finally, the Veth's legs came free. The alien tried to stand but immediately fell. His legs were badly damaged. One of them was bent at an angle that made Suho feel sick. The other was covered in deep cuts. "Do not move," Suho said. He opened his medical kit and pulled out bandages and medicine. "I will help with your wounds." The Veth watched him with those unreadable black eyes. He did not resist when Suho started cleaning his wounds. He did not make sounds of pain, even though the injuries looked terrible. Suho worked carefully. He wrapped the cuts with bandages. He used a splint to support the broken leg. He gave the alien water from his canteen. The Veth drank slowly, never taking his eyes off Suho's face. When Suho finished, he sat back and looked at his work. It was not perfect. The Veth needed real medical care, not field treatment. But it was better than nothing. "Why?" The word came from the Veth. His voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. He spoke the human word slowly, as if it was strange on his tongue. Suho looked at him in surprise. "You speak our language?" "Little," the Veth said. "Why you help?" It was a good question. Suho was not sure how to answer it. "Because you were hurt," he finally said. "Because everyone else walked away. Because it was wrong to let you die like that." The Veth seemed confused by this answer. He tilted his head, studying Suho with intense focus. "I am enemy," the Veth said. "I kill your people. You should kill me." "Maybe I should," Suho admitted. "But I do not want to." "Why?" "Because this war is stupid. Because I am tired of killing. Because when I looked at you trapped under that building, I did not see an enemy. I just saw someone in pain." The Veth was silent for a long time. He seemed to be thinking about Suho's words, processing them, trying to understand. "My name," the alien finally said, "is Torak. I am Suho. Suho, Torak repeated. The name sounded strange in his rough voice. You are strange human, Suho. I have been told that before. Torak made a sound that might have been a laugh. Or maybe a cough. Suho could not tell. They sat together in the ruins as the sun continued to rise. Suho knew he should go back to camp. He knew people would notice he was missing. But he could not leave Torak here. The alien could not walk. He could not defend himself. I need to get you somewhere safe, Suho said. If my people find you, they might hurt you. If your people find you, they might think I am a prisoner and attack. Torak nodded slowly. There is place. Old building, half-day walk. My people use it for healing. They would not hurt you if I tell them. Half-day walk? You cannot walk at all. Torak looked at his broken leg. Then you carry me. Suho stared at him. Carry a Veth warrior for half a day? The alien was massive. It would be impossible. But then he thought about his options. Leave Torak here to die. Or try to save him. It was not really a choice at all. Fine, Suho said. But if you try to kill me, I will drop you. That strange sound came from Torak again. Definitely a laugh this time. You are very strange human, Torak said. I like you. Suho helped Torak up, supporting the alien's weight across his shoulders. The Veth was incredibly heavy. Suho's legs shook under the burden. This was going to be the longest day of his life. Every step was agony. Torak weighed more than any creature Suho had ever carried. The alien's body was dense and heavy, built for a world with stronger gravity than Earth. Suho's shoulders burned, his back screamed in protest. His legs felt like they might collapse at any moment, but he kept walking. They moved through the ruins slowly. Suho had to stop every few minutes to rest. Torak tried to help by using his forearms to support himself on walls and debris, but his injured legs made everything difficult. They made strange sounds when they moved, grinding and cracking that made Suho feel sick. Tell me if the pain is too much, Suho said during one of their rest breaks. I have medicine that might help. Pain is nothing, Torak replied. His voice was strained, but his black eyes showed no weakness. Veth are trained to ignore pain from young age. It is part of becoming warrior. That sounds terrible. Torak seemed confused by this response. It is honor. It is strength. How else would we fight? Suho thought about his own training. Humans were taught to endure pain too, but they were also taught to treat it, to respect it. Pain was a signal that something was wrong. Ignoring it completely seemed dangerous. Maybe you could fight better if you were not hurt, Suho suggested. Torak made that strange laughing sound again. You have interesting thoughts, strange human. They continued walking. The sun moved across the sky. The ruins slowly gave way to more natural landscape. Dead trees and cracked earth. A dried riverbed that told stories of water that would never return. As they walked, they talked. Suho asked questions about Veth culture. Torak asked questions about humans. They did not understand everything about each other. But they tried. Why do your people fight us? Suho asked. What started this war? Torak was quiet for a moment. My people believe that strength is everything. The strong survive, the weak die. When we met other species in the galaxy, we tested them. We fought them to see if they were worthy of respect. And humans? Humans were strange, Torak admitted. You are weak in body. No claws. No armor. Soft skin. We thought you would be easy to defeat. But you kept fighting. You kept surviving. You were harder to kill than we expected. Suho felt a complicated mix of pride and sadness. We are good at surviving, but that does not mean we want to fight forever. Neither do we, Torak said quietly. Many Veth are tired. This war has lasted too long. Too many have died. This surprised Suho. He had always thought the Veth loved war, that they lived for battle and death. But Torak sounded tired. He sounded like someone who had seen too much. They stopped to rest under the shade of a dead tree. Suho gave Torak more water and checked his bandages. The bleeding had stopped. But the wounds needed proper treatment soon. Can I ask you something? Suho said. Yes. Yesterday when you were trapped. When everyone walked past you and laughed. What were you thinking? Well. Torak's black eyes stared into the distance. I was thinking about my family. My mate and my children. I was thinking that I would never see them again. I was thinking about how alone I was. You have children? 3. 2 boys and 1 girl. Torak's voice softened slightly. They are young still. They do not understand the war. They just know that their father leaves and sometimes does not come back for a long time. Suho thought about his own family back on Earth. His parents, his younger sister. He had not seen them in 3 years. He wondered if he would ever see them again. I have a sister, Suho said. Her name is Minji. She was 15 when I left. She is 18 now. I missed 3 years of her life. War takes much from us, Torak said. Not just lives. It takes time. It takes moments we can never get back. They sat in silence for a while, 2 enemies who were starting to understand each other. The wind blew through the dead trees, carrying dust and memories. We should keep moving, Torak finally said. The healing place is still far. Clued. Suho helped him up again, and they continued their journey. By afternoon, Suho was exhausted. His body was pushed beyond its limits. Every muscle ached. His vision was starting to blur from tiredness. But he could see something in the distance. A structure on a hill. Is that it? He asked. Yes, Torak confirmed. The healing place. My people will be there. Suho felt relief and fear at the same time. Relief because the journey was almost over. Fear because he was about to walk into a Veth camp. They might kill him the moment they saw him. Are you sure they will not hurt me? Suho asked. I am not sure, Torak admitted honestly. But I will tell them what you did. I will tell them you are under my protection. Among my people. That means something. It was not a perfect guarantee, but it was better than nothing. They approached the structure slowly. It was an old building, half destroyed by the war. But someone had repaired parts of it. Cloth hung over broken windows. A fire burned inside. Veth warriors appeared at the entrance. There were 4 of them, all armed. They raised their weapons when they saw Suho. Torak shouted something in the Veth language. His voice was strong and commanding despite his injuries. The warriors hesitated. They looked at each other with confusion. One of them stepped forward. She was smaller than Torak, but her black eyes were sharp and fierce. She spoke rapidly in the Veth language, and Torak responded just as quickly. The conversation went back and forth. Suho could not understand any of it, but he could read body language. The female warrior was suspicious. She kept looking at Suho like he was a threat, but Torak kept pointing at his bandages, at his splinted leg, at the human who had carried him here. Finally, the female warrior lowered her weapon. The others followed her lead. She is Vexa, Torak explained to Suho. She is healer here. She says you can stay. But they will watch you. That is fair, Suho said. They helped Torak inside. The building was warm from the fire. Other injured Veth lay on simple beds, being treated by healers. They all stared at Suho with their black eyes. Some showed curiosity, others showed hatred. Suho tried not to look nervous. He stood near the entrance while the healers took Torak to a bed. They examined his injuries and spoke in low voices. Vexa seemed impressed by the bandaging work Suho had done. She approached Suho after finishing with Torak. Her black eyes studied his face with intense focus. You help him, she said in broken human language. Why? It was the same question Torak had asked. Suho gave the same answer. Because it was the right thing to do. Vexa tilted her head, just like Torak had done earlier. Humans are strange creatures. We do not understand you. Maybe that is why we keep fighting, Suho said. We do not understand each other. Vexa considered this. Then she nodded slowly. You will stay here tonight. Tomorrow, we talk more. Maybe you help us understand. She walked away before Suho could respond. He found a corner to sit in and watched the Veth around him. They moved with purpose and efficiency. They cared for their wounded with skill and gentleness. They were not monsters. They were just people. Different from humans, yes. But still, people with families and fears and hopes. Suho leaned his head against the wall and closed his eyes. He was exhausted. But for the first time in 3 years, he felt like he had done something truly good. He did not know what tomorrow would bring. He did not know if he would ever return to his own people. But in this moment, surrounded by his enemies, he felt strangely at peace. Maybe this was what Captain Park had meant about mercy being strength. Suho woke to the sound of voices arguing. The Veth were speaking in their own language, but their tone was clear. Some were angry. Some were confused. All of them were loud. He opened his eyes and found himself still in the corner of the healing place. Sunlight came through the cloth-covered windows. It was morning. He had slept through the entire night. Torak was sitting up on his bed, speaking firmly to a group of warriors. Vexa stood beside him, occasionally adding her own words. The other Veth kept looking at Suho with distrust. Finally, the argument ended. The warriors left the building, shaking their heads. Torak looked exhausted, but he managed a small nod when his eyes met Suho's. "What was that about?" Suho asked. "Some wanted to kill you," Torak said simply. "I told them no. Vexa supported me. We convinced them to wait. Wait for what? For us to decide what to do with you." That was not the most comforting answer, but Suho appreciated the honesty. He stood up slowly, his body aching from yesterday's journey. Vexa approached him with a bowl of something that looked like soup. It smelled strange, but not unpleasant. "Eat," she said. "You need strength." Suho accepted the bowl and took a small sip. The taste was unfamiliar, but it was warm and filling. He drank more. "Thank you," he said. Vexa nodded and walked away to tend to other patients. Suho spent the morning watching the Veth work. They were efficient and organized. Every person had a role. Every task was important. It reminded him of his own military base. Except everything looked different. Around midday, Torak called him over to his bed. The alien's leg was now properly splinted, and his wounds had been treated with Veth medicine. He looked stronger than yesterday. "We need to talk," Torak said. Suho sat down on a small chair beside the bed. "I am listening. Your people are looking for you. We have scouts." They saw coalition soldiers searching the area. Suho felt his stomach tighten. He had known this would happen. He had disappeared without explanation. Yuna would be worried. Or angry. Probably both. "What will happen if they find me here?" Suho asked. "If they attack, we will defend ourselves. People will die on both sides. Then I should leave. I should go back before anyone gets hurt." Torak studied him with those deep black eyes. "You would do that? Go back to face punishment? Punishment? You helped an enemy soldier. You abandoned your post. You entered Veth territory without orders. Your commanders will not forgive this easily." Suho knew Torak was right. He had broken many rules. He could face prison. He could face execution. At the very least, he would lose his position and be sent home in disgrace. But what was the alternative? Hide here forever? Let his people and the Veth fight because of him? "I will go back," Suho said. "Whatever happens to me is better than more people dying." Torak was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke words that Suho did not expect. "You are the most honorable enemy I have ever met." Before Suho could respond, shouting erupted outside. The Veth warriors were running toward the entrance, weapons ready. Something was happening. Suho and Torak exchanged looks. Then Suho helped Torak stand, and they moved toward the door to see what was happening. Outside, a coalition patrol had arrived. 10 soldiers stood at the base of the hill, weapons aimed at the healing place. At their front was Yuna, her face like stone. "Suho," she called out. "We know you are in there. Come out now." The Veth warriors raised their own weapons. The situation was about to explode into violence. Suho pushed past the Veth guards and stepped outside. He walked down the hill slowly, hands raised to show he was not a threat. Yuna's eyes widened when she saw him. Relief flashed across her face for just a moment. Then anger replaced it. "What did you do?" she demanded. "We have been searching for you all night. We thought you were dead." "I am sorry," Suho said. "I had to help someone." "Help someone? Help who?" Yuna looked up at the Veth healing place, and understanding dawned on her face. "The trapped warrior." "You went back for the trapped warrior." "Yes." Yuna's expression shifted through many emotions. Confusion. Anger. Disbelief. Finally, it settled on something that looked like disappointment. "You absolute fool," she said quietly. "Do you know what this means? Do you know what they will do to you?" "I know." "Then why? Why did you do it?" Suho turned and looked back at the healing place. Torak had made his way outside, supported by Vexa. The alien warrior was watching the scene with intense focus. "Because he was not my enemy in that moment," Suho said. "He was just someone who needed help. And I could help him." Yuna shook her head slowly. "The commanders will not accept that explanation." "I know. You will be court-martialed." "I know." "Suho, this could ruin your life." Suho looked at his squad leader with calm eyes. "My life was already being ruined by this war. At least now I did something I can be proud of." Yuna stared at him for a long moment. Something changed in her expression. The anger faded. In its place was something like respect. "You are either the bravest man I know," she said, "or the most stupid." "Maybe both," Suho admitted. Despite everything, Yuna almost smiled. She lowered her weapon and signaled for the other soldiers to do the same. "We need to take you back," she said. "The commanders are waiting." Suho nodded. He turned to look at Torak one last time. The Veth warrior raised one of his forearms in a gesture that looked like a salute. "I will not forget this, Suho," Torak called out. "Neither will my people." Suho returned the gesture. Then he walked away with Yuna and the other soldiers, leaving the healing place behind. The journey back to the coalition base was quiet. The other soldiers kept looking at Suho with strange expressions. Some seemed confused. Others seemed curious. A few looked at him with what might have been admiration. When they arrived at the base, word had already spread. Soldiers everywhere were talking about the human who had saved a Veth warrior. Some called him a hero. Others called him a traitor. Most just did not know what to think. Commander Huang was waiting in the command tent. He was a large man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had been fighting this war since before Suho was born. He had seen countless soldiers come and go. He had ordered men to die for the coalition without hesitation. "Private Suho," he said, his voice was cold. "Do you understand why you are here?" "Yes, sir." "You abandoned your post. You aided an enemy combatant. You entered Veth territory without authorization. You violated direct orders and endangered the ceasefire." "Yes, sir." "Do you have anything to say in your defense?" Suho stood straight and looked the commander in the eyes. "I saw someone dying, sir. Someone everyone else had decided to let die. I could not do the same. I do not believe that makes me a traitor. I believe it makes me human." Commander Huang studied him for a long moment. His expression revealed nothing. "You will be confined to quarters until your court-martial," he finally said. "Guards will be posted outside your door. You are not to speak to anyone about what happened until the trial." "Understood, sir." Two soldiers escorted Suho to a small room and locked him inside. He sat on the simple bed and stared at the wall. He did not regret what he had done, but he was afraid of what was coming. Outside his window, the sun was setting again. Another day was ending in this endless war, but somewhere out there, a Veth warrior was alive because of him. That had to mean something. 3 weeks passed. Suho remained locked in his small room, waiting for his court-martial. Guards brought him food twice a day. No one spoke to him. No one told him what was happening outside. He spent his days thinking. He thought about Torak, and whether the alien warrior was healing well. He thought about Yuna, and whether she was still angry with him. He thought about his family on Earth and whether he would ever see them again. On the 22nd day, the door opened. Commander Huang stood there with a strange expression on his face. It was not anger. It was not disappointment. It was something Suho had never seen on the old soldier before. "Come with me," the commander said. "Something has happened." Suho followed him through the base. Soldiers stopped and stared as they passed. Whispers followed them like shadows. Something had definitely changed. They entered the main communication center. Officers were gathered around screens, watching something with intense focus. Yuna was there too. She saw Suho and hurried over to him. "You need to see this," she said. Her voice was shaking. "You need to hear what is happening." On the largest screen, a broadcast was playing. It showed a Veth assembly hall, filled with hundreds of warriors. At the center stood a familiar figure. Torak, the alien warrior, was speaking to his people. His leg was still in a brace, but he stood tall and proud. His voice echoed through the hall with power and conviction. A translator spoke over the broadcast, converting his words to human language. "For generations, we have been taught that strength is everything. We have been taught that mercy is weakness. We have been taught that enemies deserve only death. But I stand before you today as proof that these teachings are wrong." The hall was silent. Every Veth listened with total attention. I was trapped under debris on Varath 7. My body was crushed. My death was certain. Dozens of coalition soldiers walked past me. They laughed at my suffering. They threw stones at my body. They left me to die alone in the cold. Torak paused, letting his words sink in. But one did not. One human soldier, whose name is Suho, came back for me. He disobeyed his orders. He risked his own life. He carried me across miles of dangerous territory to reach our healers. He did this not for reward, not for glory. He did this because he believed it was right. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Some Veth looked confused. Others looked angry. But many looked curious. "I have fought humans for 20 years, Torak continued. "I have killed many of them. I thought I understood them. I thought they were weak and soft. I thought their compassion was their greatest flaw." He raised one of his 4 arms toward the gathered warriors. "I was wrong. Their compassion is their greatest strength. This one human showed me more honor in a single day than I have seen in decades of war. He treated me not as an enemy, but as a fellow living being. He reminded me of something I had forgotten." Torak's voice dropped lower, but it lost none of its power. "We are all alive. We all have families who wait for us. We all bleed. We all feel pain. We all want to go home. The humans know this. That is why they can show mercy even to those who would kill them." He looked directly at the recording device, as if speaking to everyone watching. "I am calling for peace talks. Real peace talks, not the fake negotiations that have failed before. I am calling for us to learn from the humans. I am calling for us to remember that strength without mercy is just cruelty, and cruelty has never made us great." The broadcast ended. The communication center was completely silent. Commander Huang turned to look at Suho. His face was unreadable. "Do you understand what you have done, Private?" Suho shook his head. "No, sir. I only helped one person. You did more than that. That broadcast has been seen by billions. Torak is one of the most respected warriors in the Veth Empire. His words carry enormous weight. Because of what you did, because of what he said, the Veth High Council has agreed to new peace talks." Suho felt the world tilt around him. He grabbed a nearby table to steady himself. "Peace talks? Real ones this time. They specifically requested that you be part of the human delegation." Yuna put her hand on Suho's shoulder. "You changed everything. One act of kindness, and you might have ended the war." Suho did not know what to say. He had never imagined anything like this. He had just wanted to help a dying creature. He had just wanted to do the right thing. The days that followed were overwhelming. Suho was no longer a prisoner. He was invited to meetings with the highest coalition officers. He was asked to share his story over and over again. News reporters wanted to interview him. Politicians wanted to shake his hand. He hated all of it. He was not a hero. He was just a tired soldier who had made one decent choice. The attention made him uncomfortable. The praise felt wrong, but the peace talks were real. Human and Veth representatives met on a neutral space station. They argued and debated, and sometimes shouted at each other. But they kept talking. That was the important thing. Suho was part of the delegation, as Torak had requested. On the third day of talks, he finally saw the alien warrior again. Torak looked healthier now. His leg had healed, though he still walked with a slight limp. His black eyes found Suho across the crowded room, and he made his way over. "Strange human," Torak said. "We meet again." "Hello, Torak. You look better." "I feel better." Your healers and ours worked together. It was a good combination. They stood side by side, watching the negotiations continue. Humans and Veth were actually listening to each other, actually trying to understand. "Did you know this would happen?" Suho asked. "When you made that speech?" Torak shook his head. "I did not know anything. I just said what I believed. I told the truth about what you did. The rest happened on its own. They are calling me a hero now. I do not like it." Torak made that strange laughing sound. "Of course you do not. True heroes never do. That is what makes them heroes." The negotiations continued for weeks. There were setbacks and arguments. There were moments when everything seemed about to collapse. But each time, someone would remember why they were there. Someone would remember the story of a human soldier who carried an enemy warrior across miles of ruins, and they would keep trying. 6 months later, the treaty was signed. The war was officially over. Both sides agreed to peace. Both sides agreed to learn from each other. Both sides agreed that mercy was not weakness. Suho watched the signing ceremony from the back of the room. He did not want to be in the front. He did not want attention. He just wanted to see it happen. Yuna found him after the ceremony ended. She stood beside him in silence for a long moment. "You should be up there," she finally said. "You made this possible." "No," Suho replied. "Millions of people made this possible. I just helped one person. Sometimes that is all it takes. One person helping another." They walked out of the ceremony together. Outside, humans and Veth were talking and laughing. Some were sharing food. Others were comparing weapons and armor. A group of human children were playing with Veth young, their differences forgotten in the joy of games. Suho thought about Captain Park and his lessons about mercy and honor. He thought about Torak and his speech about strength and compassion. He thought about everyone who had walked past a dying warrior without stopping. Sometimes the galaxy needed grand gestures and political treaties. But sometimes, it just needed one person willing to stop. One person willing to help. One person willing to see an enemy as a living being. Suho had been that person. And because of him, the galaxy was a little different now. He did not feel like a hero. He just felt tired and hopeful and maybe a little proud. That was enough. That was more than enough.